should not form part of this answer.
A hard-fought victory for small island developing states seeking climate justice from the world's worst offenders. In 2024, St. Lucian lawyers took their fight to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, in The Hague. Kate Wilson, a legal officer in the Department of Sustainable Development, led a three-woman legal team in their oral presentation, which was delivered immediately after the United Kingdom's. They made a compelling case on behalf of vulnerable nations.
When we heard the Attorney General of the UK, he began and when he started doing his presentation towards the court, he started off as if he was looking at, he was paying due credence to the small island developing states. But then he started saying as if, the climate treaties were the only treaties that were you could use to determine what are the obligations. And he was trying to take the position as if it is just those and not the entire corpus of international law, and that there were not many legal consequences that we could get. And I was most upset. So when I took the podium, I was ready to dismantle all his arguments. And my colleagues, my other two colleagues, we felt the same. They called us the Taylor Swift performance of international law. That was how they found we were so powerful in refuting the arguments of the United Nations.
After months of anticipation, a verdict was finally delivered on July 23, 2025.
We were waiting with bated breath as to what the court was going to say. And my God, did the court deliver? The court delivered exactly the questions that St. Lucia, that we argued for, and I must say that we are thrilled to the maximum. And let me go through the advisory opinion to tell you what are the highlights and what it means for St. Lucia. So first and foremost, we will say that in summary, what did the court do? The court recognized that states have an obligation to protect the climate system and other parts of the environment from harmful GHG emissions, including regulating the activities of private companies, and that is extremely important. The second thing is that these obligations arise under both the climate treaties, and the climate treaties are the UNFCCC, the Paris Agreement, the Kyoto Protocol, and those big countries were arguing, oh, it is just those treaties. No, the court went further, and the court said not only the climate treaties, but also other sources of international law.
Wilson described the court's decision to consider the entire body of international law as revolutionary in the fight against climate change and the pursuit of climate justice.
The court said the legal consequences for breaching climate-related obligations could potentially include cessation, stopping the activity, harmful activities, and compensation for damages. And it also went on. Some people argue and they say, that the advisory opinions are not legally binding on states and so. But let me tell you, this advisory opinion was unanimous. Okay, it was unanimously adopted by the 15 judges, and there are 15 judges at the court. So it is an authoritative interpretation of international law obligations that will come with significant weight. Okay, so that dispels the argument that it is not legally binding.
The ruling, she said, is expected to heavily influence international governance and shape future climate litigation and policy.
And they specifically stated that developed countries must assist small countries like St. Lucia through technological assistance, financing, and by capacity building, so that they need to send their experts here and help us train our experts. If they have technology that we don't have, they should share, and they should also provide. So when they go to COP and they pledge 2 million or 5 million or 20 million, and then after COP they forget about it. No, they cannot. They no longer can do that, because what the court has now done is the court has elevated the decisions that are taken at the Conference of Parties of the UNFCCC, and one is coming up in November in Brazil. And they said that if you now do not implement those decisions that are taken at COP, you will be liable. That is essentially what the court is saying. So that is significant.
For Kate Wilson and the team, the ICJ's groundbreaking ruling is more than a legal milestone. It's a powerful precedent that could redefine climate action for generations to come. Lucia Alfred, HDS News Force.
And should be rejected by this honorable court.